Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider and like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story is one that was suggested on our own subreddit r/Mark Narrations from Hedwig Flies Again. They cross-posted it to us, but it's originally from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, and it says, "Am I the arsehole here for saying I don't care about my sister's rejection-sensitive dysphoria and will be having my wedding the way I want it?" And I hope this doesn't make me sound ignorant, but I hadn't heard of this before, so I quickly looked it up. And it said rejection-sensitive dysphoria, RSD, is an extreme emotional response to rejection or criticism. It feels like an overwhelming, intense pain from things others might easily shrug off, like a minor criticism or a perceived slight. And there's obviously a lot more to it as well, but that's just the basics of it. But the story starts. I know sometimes it might seem like the answer is obvious, but I'm honestly asking for the truth because I'm getting so much pressure from my family that it is becoming unbearable now. I, male 30, am newly engaged. My fiance, female 30, and I have been together for 2 years, and we both feel ready for the next step. We don't want a big wedding. We both come from huge families, and we don't want to deal with the costs and the headache of planning a huge event. Our plan is to go to the city hall and sign the required papers. We would invite my parents, my sister, my brother-in-law, my fiance's father, sister, brother-in-law, and brother, as well as 2 of my friends, since they were the ones who set me and my fiance up when we were in the armed forces. After City Hall, we would go out for dinner. We don't want any other wedding stuff or any kind of reception. When my older sister got married 3 years ago, I ended up being thankful I was stationed in another country and wasn't at home. I was in the Air Force at the time. She had a huge, expensive wedding and then took an expensive trip to the United States for a honeymoon. This is normal in our family, but watching the wedding on a live stream was enough for me. I was getting a headache when I was hearing about the planning secondhand. My fiance and I don't want that stress. I thought my family would have a problem with us not having a big wedding or only inviting my parents, sister, and brother-in-law. But my sister got upset because she wanted to be my fiance's maid of honor. We aren't even having a maid of honor/best man or wedding party at all. Even if we were, my fiance would want her own sister to be maid of honor, not my sister. My sister also thought she would get a special role in the wedding as sister of the groom, which isn't a thing as far as I know. She wants to have a moment where she walks down the aisle alone before my wife does. I've never seen anything like that at a wedding I've ever gone to. Only the bride or one half of the couple, and sometimes the father, walks down the aisle. For full disclosure, my sister has ADHD, and with that she also has something called rejection-sensitive dysphoria. She takes rejection really personally, and even though my parents sent her to therapy before, she still takes it hard when she thinks someone has rejected her, even if they haven't really done that. I told her my fiance and I aren't having wedding parties or a wedding where other people have a special role or moment. She feels rejected, and now my parents, my brother-in-law, and other people in my family are pressuring me to change my mind. Am I the arsehole here for telling my sister and everyone else that I don't care if she feels rejected and won't change a thing about the wedding? It gets annoying to have everything revolve around my sister's feelings all the damn time. I don't think it's wrong for me and my fiance to want our wedding day to be about us, instead of giving my sister a role of maid of honor/groom sister and letting her be the center of attention like she wants. My parents and my brother-in-law are the worst offenders, and I ended up telling them and everyone else who pressured me that I'm done talking about this and to never bring it up again. Am I the arsehole for this? I just want to have my wedding the way my fiance and I want it, but my family has never gotten so upset at me about anything else before, so I wonder if I overstepped. Edited to add to whoever is sending me Reddit cares messages, I'm fine and don't need that. Now, the way that I see this is that you're just having the wedding the way that you want it, and it's quite that simple really. You're not rejecting her, which I know from RSD it sounds like what I've been reading and looking up YouTube videos a moment ago, is that it might not be perceived that way, but at the same time, you're simply not doing that. You're not rejecting her. And it sounds like in some ways the family has been enabling this for quite some time, which, we've seen in many stories in the past how it's just not helpful. But Alternative Owl says not the arsehole, and I would tell your parents, sister and brother-in-law that if they mention it again, that none of them will be attending the small occasion you have planned. You'll just elope and have some random witness. That should shut them up. Commenter says, Jesus, RSD is something you have to work on. Not something that means everyone has to give in to you to prove that they really care about you. I have ADHD. I sometimes get RSD. It sucks. It's hard. It also doesn't mean I get to demand to get my way all the time. Not the arsehole. You need to be firm with your sister. It sounds like no one else is willing to. Fresh says, I have RSD. Your sister is trying to weaponize hers. There is no wedding party, so there's no maid of honor. There is no wedding party, so there is no sister of the groom. It's not about her. It's that simple. If she remains upset, she needs to work that out in therapy. And one more comment who says, at this point, it sounds like your sister has weaponized her RSD to rearrange her personal world to suit her. Because surely her job doesn't put up with this BS. And I'd be shocked if she had more than a couple, if even that many, real friends. I mean, there's high maintenance, and then there's impossibly high maintenance. The woman is in her 30s, and she's got everyone else in the family dancing to her tune. Most likely because they don't want to deal with her, oh poor pitiful me, whining when she doesn't get her way. They've essentially infantilized her and trained her to believe that her 30-something ass can get what she wants if she acts like she's 5 and heartbroken, that she didn't get something she had no reason to expect in the first place. Now, if they want to dance to that tune, they are certainly entitled to reorder their own lives to minimize the emotional fallout, but they are not entitled to demand everyone in that orbit do the same. So Opie comes in sometime later and then says, we got married. We had the wedding we wanted. On Friday afternoon, we went to City Hall, signed the paperwork and had a very quick ceremony. We invited my wife's dad, her sister and brother-in-law, her brother and his fiancée, and my best friend and his wife. My best friend and his wife were the ones who introduced me to my wife back when my friend, my wife and I were serving in the armed forces. That evening, everyone went out to a nearby restaurant for dinner. Everyone took some photos so we can remember the day, but things were very relaxed. We all wore clothes we already had and we kept everything low-key. My wife and I spent Saturday together and we both have to work today. We decided not to invite my sister, brother-in-law and parents because of how they were acting. The last straw was them trying to say my father-in-law was on their side and wanted us to have a big wedding. He never said that. I actually think he was a tiny bit relieved because my wife's sister got married this year and her brother is getting married next year. My father-in-law doesn't try to control the weddings of his kids. He helps out with errands if he's needed, but he doesn't try to control or change things. I think he was relieved my wife and I didn't have a big wedding, but he would never say that out loud or comment on his kids having a big or small wedding. My sister and everyone else are upset, but I honestly don't care. I don't think it's unreasonable for a couple to have the wedding they'd want, or to have all the attention on them when it's their wedding day. I can't believe my parents and brother-in-law are entertaining her ideas on this. If we did have wedding parties, my wife would want her own sister as the maid of honor, not my sister. I don't know where my sister got the idea she would get to walk down the aisle alone with flowers before my wife did, or have a special role as sister of the groom. I don't know why her, my parents and my brother-in-law think they get to control my wedding. My wife and I are adults, we don't live with any of them and we have jobs / our own money. I put my foot down that my wife and I had the wedding we wanted, and we will not be having any other wedding related stuff. We are done. My wife and I are ecstatic about being married, and that's all I care about. I appreciated all the support in my last post. Edit. I've been told it is common in America, the UK and other places for the wedding party to walk down the aisle. I hadn't heard of it because I explained in my post that it isn't done here. Also, even if it was, my sister wouldn't have been part of the wedding party. My wife would have chosen her own sister and her friends, and I would have chosen my friends. It would have looked very strange for my sister to walk down the aisle alone before my wife did. And I was going to mention in my first comment actually, like in the UK, some wedding parties do this where the wedding party walks down before the bride comes out, etc. Sometimes starting with young children who walk down throwing petals on the floor and stuff like that, followed by bridesmaids and etc. etc. But the top commenter on that update said, "My husband has rejection-sensitive dysphoria. I don't think your sister's issues in respect to your wedding were related to RSD because that's not really how it works. I think your sister may well have RSD, but she's also got a bad case of main character syndrome and needs to be center stage at all times, even when things are not about her. In other words, she's just a self-absorbed arsehole at times, completely separate to her mental health conditions. I'm glad you two had the wedding you wanted. Congratulations." And that is where the story ended for OP. I can only imagine there's going to be a little more drama in the future with the parents and stuff not going to the wedding, etc. But OP did what they wanted in the end, and, fair play to them, I think. But what do you guys make of this situation? How would you have dealt with it if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's have another story. This next story is from Bitter Confidence 866 and says, "Am I the arsehole for refusing to let my brother move in after he got evicted because I don't want his lifestyle around my kids? My brother, 30 male, has always been the fun one in the family. Charming, spontaneous, the life of the party. But behind all that charm is a trail of bad decisions, maxed out credit cards, and relationships that never last more than a month. He loves to spend money like it grows on trees. Nights out, expensive drinks, designer clothes, and random gifts for whichever woman he's currently trying to impress. He works, but he never saves. Every paycheck disappears by the weekend. A few weeks ago, he got evicted from his apartment because he fell behind on rent. Again. Apparently, the landlord didn't understand that times are tough, but the truth is, he just spends more than he earns and always has. Now he's asking if he can move in with me. Just for a while, he says. Here's the problem. I have 2 lovely kids, and I know exactly what kind of chaos follows him. He's the type to stumble in late at night, bring random women over, and leave beer bottles on the counter. I love him, but I do not want that energy anywhere near my kids. I told him no. I offered to help him find a short-term rental or even cover part of a deposit somewhere else. But he lost it. He said I'm acting holier than thou, and that family helps family. He even told our mum I care more about my couch than my brother. Now my parents are on my case, saying I'm being cruel and that it's just temporary. But I don't think it's cruel to protect my home and my kids from someone who refuses to grow up. I spent years building a stable life. I can't risk that because my brother wants a place to crash between parties. So am I the arsehole for refusing to let my brother move in after he got evicted for blowing all his money on women and drinks?" Always in these family situations, there's always some family member sat in the corner who's like, "Yeah, why are you being so cruel? Just take him in. It's only temporary." And it's like, "Oh, why the fuck don't you do it then?" And that's when they turn around and go, "Oh, we just don't have the room, I'm afraid." Yeah, right, whatever. And of course, absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. Everything you said about it just sounds like chaos that be brought around your kids, around your house. You don't need that. You know him more than us. And of course, it just sounds like it won't be good for your family, so you just don't do it. But a commenter says to OP, "Not the arsehole. I'm sure your parents would love to have him come home and stay there to get back on his feet." Another commenter says, "Your home is your castle. Your home is your safe space. Your family are your kids and spouse. Your brother is your blood and you love him, but he is not a priority. Always choose your kids, not the arsehole. Good luck, OP." And one more comment from Detroit Smash who says, "Not the arsehole. You did offer to help him stay somewhere else on his own. It's not your fault that he wanted to live with you because he didn't want any responsibility. So living with you would be living bill free. If your parents feel so strongly about him needing help, then they can help him. Your parents need to learn that they are not the authority in your house. They can run theirs how they want, but the only things that they can run in yours are their mouths." So OP did come in with an update and said, "Hey everyone, I didn't expect my original post to get attention. Thank you to everyone who had weighed in, even the tough comments. I read through most of them and honestly your advice helped me see things way clearer. So a lot has happened since I posted. When I told my brother he couldn't move in, he went off, like full meltdown. He called me a bitch, he called me selfish, said I was acting better than him, and even told my parents that I was turning the family against him. For a while, they were on his side, saying I should just help him out until he gets back on his feet. Well, turns out my instincts were right. 2 days later, a mutual friend sent me a video of my brother out clubbing, popping bottles, surrounded by women. Literally the same night he told me he was sleeping in his car. He even bragged on his Instagram story about needing a vacation after all the stress. A vacation after being evicted. When I confronted him about it, he said I needed to blow off steam before figuring stuff out. Apparently, figuring stuff out doesn't include looking for a job or a place to live, because he's been couch hopping between friends' apartments and showing up drunk to family dinners like nothing happened. The final straw, he showed up at my house unannounced one night, clearly drunk, with some random girl in tow. My kids were asleep and he started yelling through the door, saying I was heartless for not letting him in. My husband had to step in and tell him to leave before things got ugly. After that, I drew a hard line. I told my parents that if they want to help him, that's fine, but I'm done. I blocked him for now because the guilt trips and late night calls were too much. The best part, since then my mum actually apologized to me. She said she saw a bit of his behavior firsthand when he crashed at their place for a few days. He came home drunk twice, flirted with one of her neighbors, and borrowed money that he hasn't returned. So no, I don't feel guilty anymore. I feel sad. Sure, it's hard watching someone you love spiral, but I'm not sacrificing my kids' safety or my sanity for someone who refuses to take responsibility. For everyone who said protect your peace, thank you. Brother sounds like a situation in this where we've seen it happen in other stories as well, where they need to hit rock bottom before change actually happens. That's the way it sounds like to me anyway, but regardless of, him being an absolute arsehole to you at the moment, and, I think Opie did absolutely the right thing, protecting their family, etc., protecting themselves and just, backing up from him for now. But in some ways, I do hope that he does get some help for himself at some point in the future, because that can't be nice to witness, and I'm sure Opie wishes that for her brother as well, even though he's being a complete knobhead at the moment. But now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from Positive Situation 71 and asks, am I the arsehole for telling my brother he cannot bring his date to my wedding? I, 27 female, am getting married to my fiance, 26 male, who I've been with for the last 6 years. Our wedding date is very soon, and last month I asked for all RSVPs to please let me know who they were bringing to the wedding. My brother, 23 male, did not respond to this, so I texted him to find out who he was bringing. He acted very nonchalant and said, oh, it's just Carrie, 25 female. Now me and Carrie have a very long history, but I will sum it up to the fact that she was my high school bully. Ooh. I told him I'm sorry, but she will not be allowed to attend my wedding, and I stated she bullied me through high school, saying things about me behind my back to several different people, to the point where I only talked to 2 people my entire senior year because of her. Just a week prior to this conversation that I had with my brother, I was talking with some of my friends who still live in our hometown, and one of my friends, let's call her Chelsea, 29 female, told me a story about how Carrie had tried to get Chelsea's boyfriend to cheat on her with Carrie. I did tell my brother the story I was told from Chelsea about Carrie that happened 3 weeks before that conversation. My brother then stated he would not be coming to my wedding if he could not bring Carrie with him. I said I'm sorry, but I will not have my high school bully attend my wedding. It's your choice to not come, but we would be holding a spot for him at the ceremony and reception if he decided last minute that he was going to attend. I also stated that if you would like to bring anyone else, he's more than welcome to. That she is the one person that I refuse to have at my wedding. I told my mother that my brother had decided that he would not be coming to my wedding, and she cried and tried to get me to change my mind to allow her to come. But I just know having her in attendance, I'd be super self-conscious about everything going on, and more worried that she's going to be talking shit about me behind my back to my family. So Reddit, am I the arsehole for telling my brother that he cannot bring his +1 to my wedding? Hell no. There's no way that Carrie should be going to your wedding, your high school bully. And look, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. Many of you know if you've been on this channel for a while that I was bullied during high school as well. And putting myself in OP's shoes, someone coming up to me and saying, oh, I'd like to bring your high school bully to your wedding. I'd be like, no, you're fucking not. The absolute audacity for someone to even ask in the first place is just mind-blowing to me. This person who's called you hurt, trauma, fucked up your school years. I mean, why the hell does she think she can attend in the first place? Absolutely, just no. Your brother can do what the hell he wants, and I'd be side-eyeing him if he made that decision. But top commenter says, are you an arsehole for refusing to invite your high school bully to your wedding? Ah, hell no. Not the arsehole. You handled your brother's request to bring her graciously and firmly. She's not invited. If brother decides not to come as well, you respect his decision, and still he's welcome to attend. And your mother? Oh please, she can turn off the manipulative waterworks. However, you need to have a contingency plan because your brother may show up with Miss Thing, so you need to be prepared to kick her sad behind to the curb. Opie says one of my bridesmaids has already volunteered to kick her out if she shows up. Another commenter says no. The thing about weddings is that they are about the bride and the groom, not about the bratty little brother or the mum who'd rather make excuses for him instead of support her daughter on her special day. I get that mum just wants everyone together, but she's directing her dismay at the wrong child. Your brother is an arsehole. Try to enjoy your day. Go says, not the arsehole. I can't help but wonder why this is the hill your brother is choosing to die on. He isn't dating Carrie and doesn't seem especially close to her. So what else is going on here? Some speculation questions. Does he always need to be the center of attention? Does he not like the groom? What is Opie's relationship with him like normally? Does he want Carrie to ruin the wedding on purpose? And again, why? What's up with mum backing brother bringing Carrie? Is this a golden child situation? Opie says, my brother does know the groom. As I stated, we've been dating for the past 6 years. He's come to every holiday function with me in that time period. Me and my brother do not talk very often, and no, we do not have a great relationship. I did not put in some specific details about mine and his relationship because it is against the guidelines. Just know that I moved out of my mum's house early because of him. Opie adds their own comment to the post and says, I would like to mention that I did not specifically talk to my family about her bullying me. The only person that knew was my sister directly below me because we had several classes together with her. She did mention to my other siblings and my mum that I would not be okay with her being there, but did not give a reason. This was before I found out who he was bringing. Also, I don't know if she knew that my brother was specifically my brother. He was in 4 grades below me, which makes 5 grades below her. I do know that the reason they met is because he is friends with her sister who babysits my niece. So Opie comes in with a couple of little updates and says, for those of you that are suggesting that I have a conversation with my mum, and she has in fact cried to both of us about the situation. I had the conversation with my mum and she has finally come to terms with the fact that if my brother wants to be there, he will, and if he doesn't, that's his loss. My mum is more worried about it putting a rift between me and my brother than the fact that Carrie was my high school bully. My brother stated that he had not dated anyone in the last 4 years and just got the courage to ask her to come to the wedding. And now he is more embarrassed to tell her that she can't come, that he would rather not go at all. And Opie adds another update, which they said is their final update, and says, my wedding was this weekend and it was beautiful. The night before the wedding, my family and friends all went out to eat together, my brother included. We had a really nice dinner. It was so nice to see everyone. My brother and I did not speak. My mum and family respected my request not to have Carrie in attendance. My brother did not attend the wedding at all, and honestly, I did not notice until we got to the family photos. But it was his choice not to show. Him not attending did not affect me at all. Yeah, that brother, with what Opie was saying about Opie moving out early, etc., and then this situation as well, seriously side-eyeing that guy. And I always question these days is like, is that someone you still want in your life? I mean, just because they got this tag of family over the top of them. I mean, they're fucking an arsehole in every other way by the sounds of it. Anyone else treated me like that, I wouldn't have nothing to do with them. So, it's the same case. It's the same case for this guy. What value is he bringing to your life? Dude wanted to bring your high school bully to your wedding. The thought process that in that itself is just mind-blowing for me. And then didn't turn up to your wedding at all. Absolute arsehole. But in some ways, like everything Opie was saying before, it sounds like it's best off him not having much to do with her anyway. And Opie just, because he does bring no value. It's quite that simple, really. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It really does mean the world to me. So thank you so, so much. And don't forget, at the very end, there'll be a couple of playlists there that will automatically scroll through all the videos for you. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.